And wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh to everybody on Instagram. The question is coming from Sydney, Australia. Initials IR. Salam Sheikh, is it sunnah to lick your fingers after eating? And is it sunnah to pick up a morsel of food you have dropped, wipe it, and then eat it? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. There's no doubt. There are several authentic hadiths that prove that the Prophet ﷺ commanded to pick up food that falls on the ground, brush it off, wipe it off, and eat it. Do not leave it for the shaitan. Do not leave it to waste. And there are other hadith in which the Prophet ﷺ commands for the fingers to be licked. Hatta yala'aqaha aw yul'iqaha. When the hadith says either he licks the fingers or someone or something else licks those fingers. Your wife could lick your fingers. Your cat can lick your fingers. You may have a little son or a little daughter, a little baby, etc. Don't waste food. Do not scorn food. That's the sunnah. People from the West or this country or this culture that's barbaric, that's savage, that's uncouth, that's unhygienic, etc., etc. Lakum dinukum waliya din at the end of the day. So, much love and salam from Sweden. Sheikh, may Allah bless all the Muslims in Sweden and other Scandinavian countries as well. Question is coming from Mahmoud G, Atlanta, Georgia. Should one memorize small metin before or after having a basic understanding of Arabic? Are you coming from Atlanta, Georgia, Yahi, or New York City? You got to put your exact location in MG. So, moving forward. Let's see if we got anything on YouTube. One question is coming from initials OS, Matthews, North Carolina. Assalamu alaikum. If you have a sanitizer on your hand and you touch food, is the food haram to eat now? No, not necessarily. Unless you believe that alcohol is impure. Not drinking alcohol, rubbing alcohol. If you believe that it's najis and you touch the food and it's smeared, the food is you have the actual sanitizer on the food, then of course it's najasa. And it will be no different than putting urine on one's food, or the blood of minces, or the blood of an animal that hasn't been slaughtered. Anything which is najis, which is Islamically, physically impure. Najasa, Allah says, وَالرُّجْزَ فَهْجُرْ. Avoid filth. All right? And there are other texts that prove the impermissibility of coming in contact with filth. Okay? So therefore, that's one thing. As far as if you consider rubbing alcohol not to be najis, then that's a different story. Be careful of hand sanitizers and things like this. We're not here to get into no conspiracies or, get too deep or whatever the case may be. However, just be mindful. Sanitizing something. Does it always have to be with this type of chemical? Does it always have to be with this type of alcohol? Are there alternatives, etc., etc.? And if you do sanitize your hands or your surfaces or wash your hands before you eat with water, etc. But, let's just be realistic. The nature of viruses and outbreaks and pandemics is pretty unavoidable, right? Wherever you go, there can be a germ, right? Germs can be anywhere, right? The restaurants, they have the, contactless delivery, pickup, etc., etc. But who's making the food, right? Who's cooking the food for you? A human being or what? So you're not coming in contact to buy, to pay, but the chef, the person is what? Making your food. So someone can sneeze in your food, touch your food, who has COVID, or whatever. Okay? The different things that people, they think that they're running and hiding from something which is pretty much unavoidable. Unless you just live in some glass or plastic bubble inside your house. But germs are everywhere. Wherever you go, you're going to what? Contact someone, somebody, etc. It doesn't mean that you don't clean yourself. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't wash your hands. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that you don't take precautions. I'm not saying that. But I'm trying to get to the proper understanding of precaution. All right? And Allah surely knows best. One question is coming from AA from Cairo, Egypt. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. What's the best way to advise a close brother that you have love for with regards to staying cautious of falling prey to the cult boycotting mentality, indoctrination, or methodology as they pursue their studies? Or should you focus on yourself and let it be? Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Allah bless all Muslims in Egypt and all disciples of Hadith there. I think that the answer to the question is in your answer, or in the question. Is that you advise this person to pursue his studies. How can you pursue your studies when you're caught up this one, that one, this one, that one? It's what they call it, an oxymoron. It doesn't make sense, right? You're pursuing something. I'm chasing, I'm running after it. Let alone something as high and lofty as Islamic knowledge. There is no time for brother, this one, Sheikh, Fulan. I believe you, I understand, I'm sure he did say this, I'm sure he is, no problem. But right now, I got this Bukhari that I'm working on. I get it, he's a deviant, no doubt, shukran. Right now, I got this what? That I'm memorizing. I'm trying to master this. I'm trying to go home back to my country with something, some ilm, something beneficial for my people to save them. This sheikh in this country, in that country, I don't know what he looked like. I never saw him. If he walked down the street, I would have known him. He would not know me. So it makes no sense for me to spend my precious golden time and my sacrifice. I'm in Egypt. If I want to just sit around and talk about people, I could do that in Philly. Right or wrong. We can go to cheesesteak. We can go just talk, whatever. I've left America. I'm in Egypt. Foreign country, foreign land. Paid all this money, I got sick, my wife is in the hospital, my daughter is... Let me make the most out of this trip, okay? So when a lion or a cheetah or any other type of hunter animal, or wolf, when they're pursuing their prey, they're thinking about one thing and what?
One thing only.
One thing only, and that is getting the prey. They're not worried about the bird, this one, that one. They're worried about getting that animal on the ground and having dinner. So if you are sidetracked by anything, women, money, politics, whatever it may be, let alone something as toxic and something as infectious as the flesh of a Muslim, I don't see how you can successfully pursue your studies. And unfortunately here in this city, the city of brotherly love, and I'm not picking on nobody, and I'm not talking about nobody specifically, it's general, whoever it is. We've seen this too many times. And we've heard this broken record too many times. Somebody goes overseas for 6 months, a year, comes back as Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah. Someone goes overseas for a couple of years and they come back as the Imam of the dunya and dictates and rules and talks about this one and that one. That's a problem. When did you have time to learn all of that stuff in your 2 years of study? This is a serious question. When did you have time? With all of the talent, mashallah, that Allah bless you, but when did you study tafsir, fiqh, usul, hadith, tawheed, seerah, lugha al-arabiyyah? When did you have time to study all of that in 6 months? Egypt. 2 years, 3 years, let alone talking about people. When did you have time? So I don't think that it's possible to successfully pursue your studies whilst being busy with this one and that one, boycotting this person, this sheikh, this group. I won't give him salams. It just won't work. Let alone those things being incorrect, and those things being haram, and those things being far from Allah's deen. The distance between the fangs of the wolf and the blood of Yusuf. They have no relation. Yusuf was never bitten by a wolf. There was no wolf that attacked Yusuf. Allah called it bidamin kadhib. He called it fake blood, false blood. It was blood from a sheep. It was never Yusuf's blood. That stuff in Islam, the Sunnah, and the way of the Salaf as-Salih, they don't exist. Boycotting someone for the sake of Allah is not what these people are doing and propagating. They're not boycotting no one for the sake of Allah. They're boycotting people for the sake of their own clique and cult. They're boycotting people for other personal material reasons. Okay? And the list goes on. We've spoken on this many times before. What's important is focus on your studies. Give the brother advice or the family member. If he takes it, alhamdulillah, and if not,